So yesterday, Steelwool released a new teaser for the Ruin DLC that will be coming to Security Breach next year. I'm so hyped to see an official release after covering DLCs a lot recently, and this teaser has so much to take in, explain and break down. So we're going to look at every detail and reveal any Easter eggs we can see. Then, using this information, we will try to uncover what Steelwool is planning for this DLC, including some community concepts. So let's get started by looking at the major details, then zooming in on this teaser and trying to explain every feature. The area that this teaser is set in appears to be the rundown and broken lobby area we see in the opening to Security Breach, with the golden statue in the middle and the staircases on either side implying the Ruin DLC will be set in the destroyed Mega Pizzaplex. At the centre we see the new character that I presume we will be playing as, who appears to be a young girl with blonde hair. We will call her Olivia for ease of explanation. There are two speculations about Olivia's background. First, she has a resemblance to Susie, who is the child possessing Chica in FNAF 1, which is an interesting connection between her, the ruined glamrock Chica we see on the left, and the Chica Chowder teaser previously released by Steelwool, although it is unlikely to be Susie because she's dead. Alternatively, we can see in the escape ending that Olivia has strong resemblance to one of the missing children on the newspaper, with two hair buns and slightly curly hair. If that were the case, it would suggest the Ruin DLC may be a prequel, which I will cover more later. But honestly, we don't yet have enough information to know the connection this character has to the story so far and with Gregory. A very notable detail that we've already mentioned is ruined Chica we can see on the left, surprisingly with her beak still intact, despite being removed by Gregory in Security Breach. If this is true, that could mean that similarly to FNAF 2, while seeming like a sequel, this DLC may even be a prequel, or a different universe to that of Gregory's actions in Security Breach. But that would make the story insanely convoluted. And despite Chica's appearance looking slightly different with her arms looking more like hooks and sharpened claws, this may just be a design choice for the teaser to show it's more horror oriented and not point to anything in particular. The final major notable feature is the monitors that seem to display Gregory in a panic and running through the Pizzaplex. The displays don't give us much information however, so why Gregory is on the monitors is unclear, but by dimming the image a lot and increasing contrast, the help me significantly stands out, meaning it could be important, but I'm not sure for what. Moving on to Easter eggs, which are always a major part of these teasers, we now know that Vanny will still be a major character in the DLC, shown by the iconic ears from her suit, slightly obscured by the dog and the logo at the top of the teaser. So that was a cool detail to add. Next, there are what appears to be eyes in the top left, and when brightening the image and dropping contrast, in the top right too. But with the lack of outline or detail, it is hard to tell whether these are lights or some kind of eyes. But matching the colours and shape to each animatronic, the eyes don't seem to have any resemblance to characters in the games we know today, with a few exceptions such as Bonnie and Nightmare Balloon Boy that both have red eyes. The final key detail of this poster before we try to explain it is the detail at the very centre that our attention is immediately drawn to. Olivia appears to be looking right at the statue that is hollowed out. Perhaps something has been lurking inside, but that is completely personal speculation with no additional evidence. But it does seem to be a notable feature. So onto the main question, what do we think this DLC will entail? Will it be a prequel or sequel, and what will the story be? Let's try answer that now. So we have lots of DLCs we could base our thinking off, most of which we have covered in previous DLC explained videos. I think the most likely two routes the Ruin DLC will go in is what the community has called the Aftermath and Prequel DLCs. And with the Pizzaplex being destroyed, I will assume this is after the events of Security Breach, despite the aforementioned flaws with that thinking. The only viable ending to Security Breach that means the Pizzaplex is destroyed and Vanny is still alive would be the Burn Trap ending, so we will assume that is what took place before this DLC. After these events, Olivia enters the destroyed Pizzaplex for unknown reasons, finding Gregory trapped. And while we do not know their connections to Gregory, they presumably attempt to rescue him, but in doing so are chased through the rubble of the Pizzaplex by damaged, melted and corrupted animatronics that somehow survived the collapsing Pizzaplex. It is also possible that only Chica remains and it is more of a personal story between Olivia and Chica, this concept having close links to the Choose Your Guardian concept, which I'll talk more about shortly. And furthermore, if it were a personal story, it would support the concept of Olivia being linked to Susie in some way. If the Ruin DLC turns out to be a prequel, we would have to look at what happened previously in the Pizzaplex. Maybe this video will help. But in actuality, we have no background as to how the Pizzaplex was built, other than that it was above the Pizzeria Simulator location, so it would be hard to explain what this may mean for the Ruin DLC. And maybe this is exactly why Steelwool decided to use the prequels as grounding for the DLC, to fill gaps in our knowledge about the Pizzaplex's beginnings. Two things that I can definitely see coming in this DLC is the much needed and requested horror aspect that I talked about in my previous DLC videos. Another highly requested but somewhat unheard of DLC is the horror DLC, which would add the distinct FNAF 1 horror back into the game, something that seems to be completely lacking in Security Breach. And in this DLC, the Pizzaplex will have all the lights and LEDs smashed to pieces and would be very dimly lit, meaning threats like animatronics could blend into the surroundings, and the dark areas instinctively would cause fear. Wait, this sounds way too much like my other video I've been working on. Anyways, also, now with the animatronics being damaged severely, they show less of a personality as before, which makes them more threatening. This fear will be even more magnified without any apparent defensive weapons like the Phasablast or Phaschem or even Freddy to keep us safe anymore, shown by the poster. The second option I could see coming into the Ruin DLC, or at least having some influence in it, is the Choose Your Guardian DLC. In the event that the Ruin DLC is a more personal experience between Olivia and Chica, perhaps there'll be an opportunity to free Chica from Afton's control and potentially work together in a similar way to how the community expect to Choose Your Guardian to work. I think this is a really cool idea. With each new DLC installation we could free a different animatronic. And that is every observation and theory I have for the Ruin DLC for you guys today. And I know you guys have been really eager to see it since the announcement, so I hope this video lived up to those standards and that you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.